You may wonder why I'm sitting inside one of my lockers, which I've just emptied out of all the gear. Well, the reason is that I'm imprisoned in Chatham Marina because their lock gates are broken. So with a day with not much to do, I thought I'd better tackle some of the light maintenance jobs that are around, and I thought I would show you my monitoring system, my Vircru, which I really rather like. I've had it for about a year now. I paid full price for it, it's not sponsored, so all of my opinions are my very own. So here's the unit tucked away underneath the cockpit, and that is wired back to the battery, which I'll show you in a minute, and it connects via the GSM network to Vircru's servers and delivers data from their servers to my app on my phone, which I'll show you shortly. So let's have a quick look in the battery compartment. So I've got the covers off now, and the wires from the Vircru come back to the leisure battery and the starter battery. There is also a wire that goes over to the bilge pump, although that doesn't work. I'll come back to that later on. So what I've got is a system which will, among other things, monitor my location, my battery status, and a couple of other things which I'll show you in a moment. The Vircru has several wireless sensors. So this is my bilge, and you can see that grey rectangle here. That is a combined water sensor and temperature sensor. And there's a wire there going down to a moisture sensor right in the bottom of my bilge. So that will tell me if I've got water in my bilges, as well as the temperature in the bilges. So here's another sensor. This one can be used in a couple of ways. This part here is wireless and also got a temperature sensor in it, so that reports back. And you can use this in several ways. You could put this onto your outboard, say, so if the outboard was removed from the boat, it would give you an alarm. Or you can use it as a sort of intruder sensor. There's this little magnet that you attach to the door, and if the door is opened and the magnet moves away from this sensor, then it would detect a door open. So that's the mode I wanted to use. However, I can't find a way of fitting this to my wooden washboards and this somewhere onto my hull, so that the two are less than 3mm apart when the door is shut and more than 3mm apart when the door opens. It doesn't quite work, so I haven't been able to use this sensor. This is just sat there, just operating as a temperature sensor on one of my shelves for the past year. So here's the app on my phone, and it's got a map here which is showing where I am. So you can see I'm at Chatham MDL Maritime Marina, and I'm trapped in here because their lock gates are broken. 5th time this year, I'm told. 4 days we've been waiting to get out. Hopefully we'll get out quite soon and better start travelling home. But it's showing quite clearly what my position is right now, which is quite convenient on the app. And you can see the sensors are reporting. I've not been able to get the bilge pump sensor to work, despite some really helpful people on the tech support. I'm not sure why that is, but I can see my engine and house battery voltage. You can see I'm on charge at the moment. It measures the boat angle, whether the device that I just showed you was present, and the door sensor. Obviously that's not really working either at the moment. And I can see what the temperature is in the cabin. That's that sensor over there. It's not registering much water in the bilges, and the temperature also in the bilges, so that's quite good. You can operate the app in several different ways. You can tell it that you're away from the boat, that you're at sea, so obviously it doesn't alarm if you're moving about, or you can use it as an anchor alarm. When you choose the anchor alarm mode, then it asks you to set a geofence so that if it drags the anchor, it will warn you. So that means if you go away from the boat, you can still be confident that it's riding happily at anchor, which is a pretty neat feature, I reckon. So I mean, I live 150 miles from my boat, so it's a great reassurance to me to be able to check that I haven't got a flat battery or water in the bilges, and that the boat is where I left it. There's a couple of little bonus features as well, one of which is that it automatically records a track every time you go somewhere. So we've got this track here, which is the last thing I did, which was sailing up the Medway from Queenborough to Chatham Marina, and it shows the track that I took. Unfortunately, I haven't found a way of exporting it, say as an GPX file, which I could then overlay onto Google Maps or something, but it's still quite fun to see a record of what I did. So you have to pay £100 subscription each year for the monitoring system, which I think is pretty fair. £2 a week is not too bad. There are other ways you can do it monthly, and there's other ways of doing it, but for someone who lives away from their boat, I think that's worth the reassurance of knowing that pretty much all is well on the boat at any time that I care to check. The tech support has been okay. I had trouble initially getting in contact with them, but once I did get in contact with them, they've been pretty helpful and have tried to sort out all the problems. They decreed that it's not possible to fit the door sensor to my particular boat, so this piece is somewhat redundant, and they couldn't figure out, their tech support guy couldn't figure out why the bilge sensor wasn't running. In other words, it should tell me if my bilge pump is running. So if I could see water in the bilge and the bilge pump running, that would tell me that maybe I've got a leak or taken on some rainwater or something. So it doesn't work perfectly, but I think it's a good system, particularly if you don't live near to where your boat is kept. Thanks for watching. See you next time.